Hello again and welcome to this Empire Review. I'm your tech and gaming guy Dave, and this time around we are looking at the latest release from Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja, which is an action game titled Nioh, available exclusively on the PS4. You play as William, a sailor who undertakes a trade mission to Japan to find a mysterious substance called Amrita, only to wash ashore in 1600 into a special kind of hell. Bandits, war, and an outbreak of demons known as the yokai have overtaken the island that you set foot upon, and you have to try and figure out what is going on and what you can do about it. The story itself is loosely based upon the historic life of William Adams, a sailor from England who ended up as an advisor to the shogun in the 1600s. Loosely being the operative word here. I mean, there's a lot more demons in the game for a start. The game is a mixture of exploration and combat with a historic Japanese flavour to it. You are given a small but distinct array of weapons from feudal Japan with which to do combat, including some ranged weapons and bows and muskets. You gain proficiency points through using the different weapons, and these can be spent to unlock new moves and counters for your preferred weapon. You also obtain Amrita from fallen enemies and collectible items, which you can spend on levelling William up. If and when you die, any collected Amrita will remain at the spot of your death and can be collected if you can make it back and touch your grave. You do get to keep your weapons, items and armour, thankfully. Speaking of weapons and combat, anyone expecting a Ninja Gaiden style super fast paced dynamic combat should really dismiss that idea. Combat is slower, more tactical and utterly unforgiving in this game. Every encounter, every enemy in this game can kill you if you underestimate it. During attacking, evading and blocking maneuvers, you consume ki, which is your stamina. If you completely deplete your ki gauge, you become incredibly vulnerable to attack, and your opponent will not hesitate to issue you a coup de grace killing blow. You are able to recover your ki with a well-placed tap of the R1 button after an attack combo through a ki pulse. It can quite literally be the difference between life and death in this game. There are also 3 different stances. High is powerful with low guard, low is fast and nimble, dealing less damage, but allowing you to dodge enemies better, and middle is a balanced style. It can be a bit complex and trial and error figuring it out, and it takes discipline to avoid devolving into a frantic button mashing, which I did all too often when an unexpected enemy was alerted to a fight already in progress. If you're really struggling, you can request a co-op person come and join you to help out. Enemies and bosses come in many forms. Bandits, samurai, demons, and the ghosts of other players called revenants litter the various levels that you will slog through in this adventure. Revenants are a particularly interesting element. They are high risk, pitting you against an opponent who also has a full skill set from the game and could be a considerably higher level than you. Payoff comes in the form of high-level rare items which these revenants will drop when defeated. You'll need to have your character leveled correctly to make best use of the rare items, so pay attention when you're picking up those sweet greaves of epic stomping. If you've played any of the Dark Souls games, this title will feel familiar to you. Team Ninja have made no issue of telling people that they drew inspiration from the Souls series. There are certainly some parallels. This game is crushingly difficult. You will die a lot, especially in the very early stages of the game whilst you get used to combat and knowing when to fight and when to run. A particularly telling sign of the difficulty curve was the sheer number of revenant graves in the first level of the game, especially around the tougher mini-bosses. Damn things were everywhere. I'm not going to lie here. I almost put a controller to the wall playing this game. Punishing difficulty frustrated the shit out of me, coupled with a combat management curve that I struggled to keep up with. I spent hours just running around the first level, getting repeatedly slaughtered, whilst trying to master a counter move with the spear weapon. I dread to think how many of my graves will litter other players' playthroughs. But that's not really the game's fault. That one lies squarely at my own feet. I'm used to a gentle difficulty curve and ready action before things gently ramp up. I'm used to being flattered, not humbled by my games. I came to a bit of a realization whilst I was getting repeatedly smashed by Nioh. Slowing things down, focusing on good combat and stances, leveling up as frequently as possible, and accepting that death is just another part of this game, made playing Nioh a little easier for me. Not a lot. Still harder than a coffin nail. Still die all the time, and in hugely frustrating ways. I still turn off my console feeling a bit angry at the latest death I've experienced in the game. But when it finally comes together, when you finally get somewhere in this game, it feels like you actually earned it. And when I turn back on my PS4, I'm drawn back to Nioh, back to push further into this game's surprising and delightful depths. It's been some time since I felt that from playing a game. I'm going to give Nioh 9 out of 10. It's not for everyone, but if you're looking for an interesting, pretty, especially on the PS4 Pro, thoughtful and challenging action RPG, then you should certainly give this one a look. Thanks for listening. This was Dave.